Hello and welcome to Heirs and Spares, your go-to for insight and opinion on two of the most talked about royal couples from both sides of the Atlantic. I'm Kinsey Schofield, and I'll be bringing you updates on Prince Harry and Meghan Markle from sunny California.
And I'm back in a very cloudy, misty UK. I've just had a lovely weekend in the eternal city of Rome, watching some horses jump. But I've been keeping more than a watching brief on what's been going on with the Prince and Princess of Wales.
How could you not? I mean, Rupert, that incredible video of Prince William, he reunites with Rhian Manning. And this is Rhian Mannings, who lost her sweet baby, George, in 2012 to an undiagnosed illness. Within less than a week, she loses her husband, Paul. He's so overwhelmed with grief that he takes his own life because he's blaming himself for his son's death. This is not the first time Prince William has met with Miss Mannings. She interviewed him, actually. What an interesting flip there is. That idea was to have them change positions, and it just showed, I thought, a lot of grace and strength from the Prince of Wales to see him emotional about her story.
Yeah, and it's something that, I had a cousin, and actually, the Princess of Wales, Diana, came to the funeral of a friend of my cousin's son he died of infant death syndrome back in the early 90s. So I'm fully aware of the impact this has on people and the impact it had on my cousin. And I do know that the Princess of Diana turned up at the funeral, and the eldest sister is I'm a goddaughter too. So, and the context of this story is she came back from Korea, and obviously there was a lot going on, but she made a great effort to come to the funeral of my cousin's child who died of this, and the impact this sudden cot death, to call it the simple sort of slang term, is just horrific, the impact it has on families. And I can immediately understand why William would be so emotional, because he's got small children and we all worry about it. But when it comes home, his mother showed great care and sympathy to my cousin's family, and was a great source of comfort. So in many ways, hearing and reading that, it brought home what I remember as a very personal experience. My cousin, who was like my brother, had went through this, and the pain that he went through, and remember, talking about the experience of finding your child in this distressed state. I mean, it beggars belief. So you can fully understand why the Princess of Wales's son is emotional, because he's got three children, and he's probably, let's be honest, on a bit of an emotional roller coaster anyway, when you know that your family members, there's a lot going on. And when you hear the rawness of that story, you've got to be pretty brutal if you can't find any compassion. And what it was good to see, it was not fake, it was genuine compassion. And the tears were heartfelt. And it brought home to me the memories from something back in the early 90s from a family perspective. And to see William sort of reliving and sharing his moments was very touching indeed.
It does feel like there's a narrative that's been built since Megxit of that Prince William is more like his father, Prince Harry is more like his mother. So that's interesting for me to hear your recollection, your personal experience, and how that personal experience leads you to feel like Prince William does have some of his mother's most charming and endearing qualities.
I don't think, well, it's there for all to see. We've seen it in his, the week, the holiday video thing, when he's with Eugene Levy, the sort of naturalness and that. But then you see the side that's important, and mental health. And then he's saying that how important that his wife has been in sort of bringing all the strands together and making sure that there is a focus to what they're trying to do. So I must admit, it was an interesting video to watch and understand what he was going through. And I know that there was charities after set up and to try and help, and very important, because it's one of the great mysteries this sudden cot death or sudden death syndrome, that you just, for some inexplicable reason, something happens. Of course, there's been lots of research and things maybe have moved on since the early 90s. But I think it, and this woman still raw, 10 years or however many years it is on, the family devastated. Now the children are older and, regrouped, and it must have been horrendous. But, to have that happen, that double whammy within 5 days of absolute raw tragedy, beggars belief. And my heart goes out to that lady and what she went through. And at the same time, Prince William showed his very natural caring side by listening to her and reflecting on it with her. And I think it's very important we see that human side of the royal family. We do it, crying is not something they do naturally, but in public it's the stiff upper lip, and we don't show our emotion. But William doing that definitely has given it an element. We know Harry's cried occasionally. So I think it was a really touching thing to see, and as I say, brought home raw memories for me, and something, as I say, with William's mother involved.
What does it tell you that she felt comfortable enough with Prince William to try to comfort him in that moment too? Like I thought that, to me, it said that he must be a very approachable and likable figure for her to feel comfortable enough to say, are you okay? Like, to go there. Because I mean, I don't know if I would, if there's a person up in power or leadership, I feel like I'd be like, I'm just going to slowly exit the situation and allow you to have your moment.
I think this is one of the things that I think he's trying to break down. It doesn't matter who you are. Things happen. You think talk, 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 and it's slightly off piste here, but there was a famous boxer died recently, and at the funeral, the daughter said something. Why didn't you talk? So, and that's so. I think it helps break down barriers when you see someone like Prince William telling all that. Yes, you are living in your wonderful gilded cage of a life, but you're still human. Everything is still, you are luckier than most in that you're living in palaces and you've got people looking after you, and it's not necessarily as straightforward. And I think that is very important, that we see William behaving in as natural as way possible. And we were reflecting on it, I think, I don't know which program it was, but last week, weren't we, about the way the monarchy might be shaping up. And this sort of more natural approach to it, and sort of more human approach, is, I think, part of what he wants people to see. And we've seen that, the raw interview, and then we saw the lighter side of him when he was talking with Eugene Levy. So I think it's been a good few weeks from a PR perspective, but naturally done, not contrived, not trying too hard, just putting it out there, and people can judge for themselves in a very reasoned and sensible way.